Decision by Sheikh Abdul Majid al-Zandani to join the anti-government protesters is a severe blow to President Saleh. Abdul Majid al-Zandani is a respected cleric here in Yemen, has the potential to convince tribesmen, activists, people to join the anti-government momentum by citing verses from the Quran, by telling people that it's a religious duty to take to the streets to topple the government. Ali Abdullah Saleh sacked 5 governors in an attempt to solve problems in the southern provinces, a hotbed for dissent. This is an area where the secessionists are stepping up efforts to break away from the north. However, people are saying that all these actions taken by Ali Abdullah Saleh are seen as quick fixes, and that whatever he does is too late, and that in fact he has to go and let people think about their future, establish a new genuine democracy based on the rule of law and also on a new, strong, vibrant parliament.
Now, there appears to be some movement on these stalled Middle East peace talks. The Israeli Prime Minister is reported to be reconsidering his stance on a key issue. We'll have the details coming up. And new allegations of torture are coming to light as the Gaddafi regime fights hard to cling to power. Stay with us. We're back after the short break.
Over the Sea of Japan, as cool conditions persist, you'll find something to whet your appetite.
Hello again. For Australia, it's been really quite wet recently. Even in the west, for Western Australia, we've seen lots of cloud, lots of heavy downpours, but the heaviest rain has definitely been in the far north. This area of cloud here has dropped over 110 millimetres of rain just in a 24-hour period, and it hasn't stopped raining yet. More wet weather still to come here as we head through Thursday and Friday too. Meanwhile, further south, it's a lot cooler and fresher here. Melbourne getting to 21, and for Tasmania, we're still seeing a little bit of snow. Further north, and our area of low pressure is gradually making its way towards the west now. Here it is, still giving heavy downpours as it does so, moving away from Borneo, but it is working its way towards the southern parts of Vietnam. So here, as we head through the next couple of days, it is going to turn increasingly wet. Another place it's been very wet recently has been in the northern parts of India. You can see the cloud here feeding its way through Pakistan, Afghanistan and the northern parts of India. Heavy downpours out of this and a lot of snow as well. And now with all that moisture around, it is really quite murky. You can see really very foggy conditions. And there's going to be no let up here as we head through the next couple of days either. The cloud's going to stay with us, still giving some heavy downpours, feeding its way through Pakistan, turning heavier towards the north there, then Afghanistan and northern India seeing a lot of snow.
Qatar Airways, world's 5-star airline.
As geeks take on dictators, bloggers turn dissidents, and social networks root for social justice, governments are going cyber, spying on their citizens, erecting firewalls like iron curtains, and closing down websites. We ask, is cyber-generated change virtual or real? Empire at this time on Al Jazeera.
Welcome back. A reminder of our top stories on Al Jazeera. The United Nations has suspended Libya from the UN Human Rights Council. It's the latest move by the international community to stop the Gaddafi regime's crackdown on protesters. The UN says the humanitarian situation on Libya's border with Tunisia has reached a crisis point. It says up to 75,000 people have gathered along the border in just 9 days. Well, U.S. senators are urging the imposition of a no-fly zone over Libya, but the international community is split on the idea. The U.S. Secretary of State, however, says America is keeping all options on the table. Roslyn Jordan reports from Washington.
The question hit U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton almost as soon as she sat down before a congressional panel. What will the U.S. do about the chaos in Libya?
We have also, with our NATO allies and with the Pentagon, begun to look at potential planning, preparedness. One of those actions that is under review is a no-fly zone. There are arguments that would favor it, questions that would be raised about it, but it is under active consideration.
The idea of a no-fly zone has been bouncing around capitals for several days. On the other side of Congress, there was one important caveat.
You would have to remove the air defense capability in order to establish the no-fly zone, so it just no illusions here. It would be a military operation. It wouldn't simply be telling people not to fly airplanes.
The declaration of a no-fly zone to the enemy would be have a significant deterring effect on their desire to fly. I think we know that to be the case.
Yes, sir.
Even though there is a consensus in official Washington that something has to be done to protect the Libyan protesters, the question is military action the thing that's required? Even among opposition Republicans, Richard Lugar said at the moment he would not suggest using the tactic. But Susan Collins said the U.S. should consider joining together with other countries to do so. And Lindsey Graham said the no-fly zone makes a lot of sense to him. But Congressman Ron Paul told Clinton to hold on.
Libya, that nothing should be taken off the table, which is to me a little frightening because the previous administration would say that when they would be asked questions about first strikes, preemptive war, nuclear first attacks. That scares the living daylights out of me when nothing is taken off the table.
The U.S.'s chief diplomat reminded members that the final outcome hangs in the balance.
In the years ahead, Libya could become a peaceful democracy, or it could face protracted civil war, or it could descend into chaos. The stakes are high.
But with international division over a no-fly zone emerging, Washington's biggest challenge, if it wants to push for one, may be convincing Moscow. Rosalind Jordan, Al Jazeera, Washington.
Let's return to the eastern Libyan city of Benghazi now, where Al Jazeera has visited an underground prison allegedly used for torture. One man says 7 family members were abused and 1 killed by henchmen loyal to Colonel Gaddafi. He told his story to Tony Bertley.
As Benghazi embraces freedom and a new future, the dark secrets of a gruesome past are coming to light. Below ground, the burned-out cells of the state security apparatus, where acts of incredible brutality were performed in the name of the Libyan leader.
Torture had no limits, but Gaddafi didn't know about all of the cases. Those in power were afraid of losing their positions, so they would torture people to stay in power.
Torture was the feared method to keep the population under control, and it was inflicted widely. Mohammed Abdullah Ali suffered from this. He was imprisoned a total of 3 times and subjected to brutal beatings which left him with serious deformities and nerve damage. This is how he looked before.
They tied me by my hands, grabbed me by my hair and beat me on the face until I started to bleed, then continued to beat me with the back of their rifles on my face.
They destroyed his body, but not his spirit. Every town had state security, every town had fear. Even though the cells were below ground in the dark,